Hello there everybody and welcome! I got you a new fresh hot build for a classic faction and it's a Barbarian crit hit build, and I'm very inclined to delete this after I'm done with this video so the AI doesn't field this against me. I don't want to play against it. The numbers are just too high, it is stupidly powerful, and if you got the Primal Fury DLC, it even has elephants. That all being said, we're going to get started with this party right away with the moving parts, the racial and cultural perks and traits. So, Overwhelm Tactics is the must-have in this one. Critical hit chance when standing next to your buddy is just what we're aiming for. Yeah, we are crit hit build. Here's our baseline crit. Very effective, and we want this because the Savage Strike has been reworked, or I think it was Primal Strike in the previous version. Anywho, Wolf Update made the Barbarians crit like madmen. So we get a extra +4 damage on each critical hit, so this build tries to get the best out of that. I went for elephant mounts here because in this culture your tier 1 shields get the mount and your tier 2 archers get the mount. Also our supporters that we use out of the Tome of the Beast. But the point here is +15 HP is a lot. It makes them so stupidly tanky. Also, they can't just crush little obstacles by running over them. All in all, this is a tankiness steroid for your baseline units, and when I was done with that build, no, my tier 1 shields didn't feel like tier 1 units. Not at all. They sleep somewhere between tier 2 and tier 3 units. It's not entirely a tier 3, but it's also a little bit too tanky and resilient for a tier 2. It is amazing what that does and can strongly recommend. If you can't get your hands on the elephant mounts because you don't have the Primal Fury DLC, well, I would recommend a lot of things. You could go for the spiders, that makes you very versatile. You could go for the wolves with Pack Hunter. That's also really, really good. Yeah, these would be my preferred two options. Anyways, don't sleep on the mounts. They are an integral part of the build, and I think it wouldn't work as well without them. Now, cultural trade-wise, Ritual Cannibals gives us some resilience with the corpse-eating trait, which we can use repeatedly during battle. It does heal only 15, I think it was stronger in the past, but it is still a very versatile little free action burst heal for any of your units, nothing too shabby. But it is mostly about the bottom line here, making your cities grow stupidly fast when you just do what you're best at, looting and killing stuff. I really like that one. I think it is exchangeable though. The Devious Watchers trait I picked up to make the scout power play of the barbarians even more prevalent. If you don't want to go for that, I'd strongly recommend still to go for another shadow trait, namely, I forgot the name, the one that gives you combat casting points for supporters and battle mages would be a really good fit, as it lets you start with a support unit. Really good stuff. Either way, don't skip it, because Shadow Affinity is so good for this build. It helps you with your research income, which is a very weak side, and dipping low-key into that unlocks the knowledge extraction trade, which allows you just to get your game on faster, and that's why we have it, and it is so good that I would strongly recommend to stay on a shadow trade. If you want to skip out on the swap out the Ritual Cannibals, I think this build would work with a lot of other things like runesmiths, or yeah, well, I think you have a lot of flexibility here, but a shadow trade is really what speeds you up a ton, because you just need to kill heroes. Anyways, let's move on over to the tomes. Well, we are starting out with a little Tome of Beasts, which allows us to synergize darned well with our cavalry. We get Pack Leader as a support skill, pick that up on every hero for an extra critical hit chance of 10%, makes us get hit already 30%. So Flanker makes our flanking stronger, nothing bad about that. Animal Kinship gives us another 10%. We need an animal next to us, but that's what our wild speakers are good for. So in an ideal situation, already 40%. Or also 10% more damage. You can really do a lot of nice shenanigans with that by just having an animal next to you. I really like that one. Call of the Wild buffs cavalry as well as animals, so you have an insanely good buffing spell for your entire cavalry units. Marcus Prey is Really good early on to just focus down one enemy, the 3 stunted defense and the distraction. You really notice that. And it's dirty cheap. It's dirty cheap. That's really cool. And yeah, summon wild animal. You can use it if you want to fill up your ranks quickly, but I'd personally recommend rather to build a wildlife sanctuary and try to get yourself some animal units that evolve, that turn themselves into tier 3 units. These are the best companions for this build in the long term. Second tome, I went for Zeal, because I feel like you get so much out of just 2 spells in this tome. As you see here, I really just skipped the rest. It's all just Legion of Zeal, which gives you a +2 spirit damage, a +4 if they are already condemned, and it applies to basically your entire roster. It is really good, as it's just one enchantment. It gives you a lot of mileage, and Inspiring Chant allows you to buff up the moral, that is again a higher critical hit chance, and gives you even a strength bonus. It's 2 hex radius, that's darn wide, and you can even summon yourself some zealots if you ever have some, if you ever are in a pinch. Fanatical Workforce is also really nice because our food income is really high if you went with ritual cannibals like I did, so you can build up your cities faster. Condemnation, well, allows you dudes to hit harder due to Legion of Zeal, but that's pretty much it. Now, tier 2, Tome of Artificing is where we head next for that sweet and savory 30% critical hit chance for our entire cavalry dudes. Mind you, it doesn't work for the supporters, but it is outright outrageous how much damage your tier 1 shield units can do. So I kept counting, so in an ideal circumstance we're already on a 70% critical hit chance at that point on our cavalry units if they stand right next to an animal. 70 hit percent. That's just so much already at that point. Siege Magic buffs up our supporters quite nicely as they do extra fortification damage on sieges. This is really good because we really love our supporters in this build, so it's a really nice upgrade. Iron Golems, I would recommend not to run them unless you have a really big need on mechanical units that are not vulnerable to status stuff. That would be really good stuff. If your enemy rocks a lot of poison and all those things that you can just shut down by fielding golems, that's where you can hit them. But beyond that, I really recommend you to run instead your tier 1 shield units because they're stronger. Now, Artisan Fortification is really cool, makes your cities harder to crack, and Bolt Repeaters, yeah, what can I say? It is a nice, strong siege project. Golem Assistant, more clutter on the battlefield. Sweet stuff, go for it. It is really cool to have even more units on the field, and we want support skills anyways. So, the other tier 2 tome, Revelry, for you got it already. More crits. So, Blood Fury weapons gives us moral boosts and another all over the board damage boost. Slight thing, but since we're critting a lot, we notice even a +2 a lot. So, Reveler's Heart allows us to get more moral out of all sources, so we crit more reliable at that point, and Reveler's Triumph is just a must-have in a crit focus build like that. Yeah, it's just even more damage at that point. Skulls are amazing, as they are tier 3 supporters, and yeah, we got a lot of chances to make them crit as well, due to the high moral, and they can hit quite hard. I saw with this build quite often my supporters reach numbers around the 30, on crits of course, but that's pretty impressive. Song of Carnage gives us fortune, so critical hit chance, you know what we're after. And Song of Revelry is also amazing, as it boosts up moral continuously and gives you regeneration. Real good stuff. They complement our roster of supporters excellent. So, what's left to say? We need to go over the tier 3s. And this build, we had 4 Tome of Devastation, because 90% critical hit chance in a perfect world where we stand right next to an animal and we're sitting on an elephant. Yeah, well, high moral, you easily can't hit the 100%. I don't know if it's capped or anything, I didn't pay attention to it. But we're also exploding the stuff that we're smacking with these, so it's a lot of fun. Focus of Devastation gives us, again, another bonus mode for supporters, so you can just smack the enemy out of their defense mode before you go in with your tier 1 shields. This is really important, as our tier 1 shields don't do that much damage into defending units. This annihilates this advantage all over the board. It's really cool. Warhound Unleash, well, that's pretty cool. We gain more animals to work with if we siege a city. Warbreed, well, hard to tell. Hard to tell. I love my berserkers for all what they do. I'd, in all honesty, would be skipping that on this build, but let me know what you think. I'm really on the fence here on that one. And the Devastator Spheres, 8 fortification damage. That's all I want to say about that. When you need to crack open a big city, this book helps a ton. Fits very well to the theme of the barbarian culture as well. And the other one is, amazingly enough, not Vigor. I think Vigor is a good choice, but I think Cycles is better. Hear me out on that one. Vigor would give us empowered beasts. We don't use that, as the animals are more like the companions to enable our own units, so it's not that much of a really big deal. Super growth, okay. It's powerful. It's just good. It's even more of the same what we're already rocking. Unleash Beast, sure, pretty cool, but also very costly. Eats up a lot of our battlefield spell points that I like to use for buffs in that build way more. And Totem of the Wild, okay, it is cool. Animal Handler is the real superstar here, though, why I think Vigor is a very solid choice as well, as mind control immunity for all your cavalry units. Yeah, what's not to like about that? Also +2 magical resistance. Alright, but here goes Cycles, and I personally think it's a sweeter choice for this build. Several reasons. First off, the reworked Druid of the Cycle. They got buffed up in the Wolf update, and they now have Sacrificial Blight. That allows them to kill a unit and make them explode for blight damage. Since we rock a lot of temporary summons, this is pretty cool, as we can activate Life from Death, and this allows us to, if I remember correctly, we need this to run Restart the Cycle. Either way, this guy allows us to make summoning units into into hand grenades of sorts. That's really good. Projectiles of Decay applies to our ranged units and or supporters and shuts down enemy healing. Also a really powerful thing to have. Also, Diffuse Health and Parting Gifts make amazing healing spells. And Cycle of Seasons is just a good spell when you ever get attacked in your own city. Withering Decay gives your heroes the same decaying thing. And all in all, I think for the later stages of the game, Cycles offers more utility, whereas Vigor offers more quantity and amplifies the quality of your cavalry a little bit. But I felt like this adds more into the niche where this build is a little bit lacking in the later stages of the game. Tier 4, go for Paradise. It's always the same story. Gaia's Chosen is amazing still, even after it got nerfed. And Exhilarating Pollen, we are all flankers on our cavalry, so big boom on that one. It's just up to you. I don't need any further instructions up here, because the majority of the build is at that point already defined. So, strategy, what are we going for? You want protectors, warriors in this build early on. The Sunderas are, in all honesty, not important for this build. I actually regretted every single one of them that I built, as these guys are just better. With the elephants, they just beat the competition, and go for the tier 2 town hall as fast as possible to get yourself war shamans and furies. The furies are on the elephant back amazing, as they now count as cavalry, they get all the bonuses from cavalry, and they have built-in frenzy, so even just with that baseline +2 from Legion of Zeal and +2 from the Blood Fury weapons, Eventually, when the crits hit town, these girls can still deal 20 to 30 damage per shot. It is just stupidly powerful. So, I like that one. War Shamans, you need them for the Invigorate buff, as it gives your army a much needed little burst heal and buff. That is just what it's good for. And Wild Speakers. Print yourself at least 3 of them for your army. They are your animal in a pocket. They provide the animals that you need to trigger animal kinship reliably, and they also happen to have a decently hard hitting ranged attack in this build, as they are from your own faction. That means they get all your cultural traits, and therefore they crit like trucks. Right? These guys really have amazing results on their ranged attacks. I couldn't even believe it. And since they got this sick plus 15 HP bonus, all of your cavalry units are really hard to kill. I love that. Once you get access to the Berserkers, you should really have a few of these. These guys, if they crit, it goes easily into the 70 to 80 points. Late game, when you have all your additional things, they can easily go triple digits on an enemy. This is why you want them. They're stupidly hard to kill, because they gain steadfast when they go down on 33% or lower. And yeah, this is by far the strongest barbarian build that I could cook up, and I am amazed how much more powerful they are now. So that's about your military setup. How to play it. You can really stomp over the enemy right from the get-go by just printing enough elephant warriors and accompany that with your hero, and be a little bit conservative early on until you have pilfered enough of the monster nodes to get yourself Furies and War Shamans unlocked. But basically, you should go for the Wild Speaker as your first research if possible. Print yourself a couple of these guys, and as soon as you have few Wild Speakers on the field, you can basically go wherever you please, as you can easily have lots of summons on the battlefield and run with that pretty much every fight. Decently easy. You can pick up a fight with the AI competition earliest at tier 2, I'd say. Maybe earlier. The Tome of Zeal is stupidly powerful. I want to emphasize here also that this is a buff build. You got Inspiring Chant, 2x radius, moral, and strengthening bonus. You have Call of the Wild for your cavalry needs. You have Vision of Victory for your crit needs. So you have a lot of different tools to buff up your army. Therefore, I went for this build with a Wizard King hero, as I love the overchannel to weave dual dual support spells into the situation as needed. With the signature skills, we of course go as usual for the summons, but mass regeneration and other buffing spells are very welcome here as well. Beyond that, I focused very strongly into the baseline support skills. This is very important for this build. So endurance training, defensive training, and yeah, these alone make your tier 1 shields so much more resilient. Pack leader, of course, I mentioned that already. So basically, all the things that you can go for to make your units more resilient are good for your army. The support heavy build felt really good on these, and yeah, precision training, that's the one that I wanted to point out. Makes your support units just hit so much more reliably, and yeah, Golem Assistant, like I said, more summons. Yeah, what's left to say? Conquer the world with it. It is stupidly powerful. You crit like a truck, and it is I was really shocked how reliable crits rained down the moment I had Artisan Armaments activated. That's such a game changer. The moment you have that activated, you have just so stupidly hard-hitting tier 1 shields that it's really stupid how much fun that is. Try it out for yourself. Just keep an eye out for magic damage. That's your hidden weakness. That is also a reason why you might want to go alternatively into the Tome of Vigor. That's just a side note. So, thanks for watching, you all. That's all I have to say. Leave me your comments down below, and the thumbs up would be welcome. And feel free to subscribe. Check out the description box. You will find lots of cool links down there. There's my Discord, my Twitch channel, and of course, Patreon, PayPal, and Buy Me a Coffee. If you'd like to support the channel, I'd be more than happy about that. Big thanks to everybody who's already into that, and also there's YouTube channel membership thingy allowing you to preview all the things that I have scheduled for release already. Just a little thing where you can have also an option to support the channel. Besides all these self-ads, thanks for watching this video. I'm really happy that you're around, and I hope you're coming back for another one, and let me know what kind of builds you'd like to see in the future. See you there. Bye bye.